Mechanics hope you never learn these 18 car tricks. One of them can prevent a $2,000 repair. Another could literally save your life. They're buried deep in your car, and most drivers only find out after it's too late. Miss one? You'll feel it in your wallet or on the side of the road. First up is a silent trick that blocks a high-tech theft method stealing cars in under 60 seconds, right from your driveway. Number 18. Foil shield for key fobs. This hack feels almost too cheap to matter, yet it blocks one of the smartest car theft tricks happening right now. Relay thieves stand outside homes with signal boosters that extend the range of a parked key fob. The car hears the boosted signal, thinks the key is close, and unlocks. There's no glass break, no alarm, and the whole theft can take under a minute. Now picture the same scene, except the key is sitting inside a sealed metal tin by the door. The radio waves hit the metal, bounce around, and never reach the outside. That tiny box acts like a Faraday cage, completely cutting the loop that relay devices depend on. Here's why this works. Keyless fobs constantly whisper a radio handshake, and thieves simply amplify it. A closed metal container stops that whisper before it escapes. Wrapping the fob in layered foil works as a quick test, although a proper metal box or Faraday pouch protects more reliably for daily use. Owners who see neighbors lose cars in seconds suddenly treat this hack like cheap insurance. Nothing about the car changes, yet you avoid the stress of silent overnight theft. It's one of those rare moments where a kitchen drawer fix quietly outsmarts high-tech criminal tools. Now that your keys are protected, it's time to look under the surface, because your brakes may already be failing without you knowing it. Number 17. Tighten gas cap when light appears. Every driver has had that heart-stopping moment where the check engine light suddenly glows and panic kicks in. It feels like a warning for something catastrophic. Yet here's the catch. One of the most common triggers is a simple gas cap that isn't sealing properly. Shops rarely mention this because they profit when you don't know. Modern fuel systems run self-tests that hunt for tiny vapor leaks. A cap that's loose or worn creates a leak small enough to confuse the system, and the car responds with the same serious-looking warning it uses for major faults. Picture finishing a fuel stop on a busy day and rushing the cap without hearing that final click. A few drives later, the light appears and the car feels perfectly normal. That's the exact moment this hack saves you money. Walk back to the cap, remove it completely, and tighten it firmly until you hear clear, distinct clicks. The rubber seal on the cap needs that pressure to hold vacuum inside the tank. This trick works because the evaporative emissions system checks for air movement when the engine is off. A weak seal looks like a fault to the computer. Tightening or replacing the cap restores the seal and allows the next self-test to pass. Drivers who know this avoid unnecessary diagnostics, protect fuel economy, and clear a warning that often looks far more dramatic than the actual cause. But most people rush to the shop instead, and mechanics know it. Fixing the smallest leak is one thing, but the next trick teaches your entire drivetrain to think again. Number 16. Reset transmission learning sequence. Ever felt that strange moment when your automatic gearbox starts acting confused? Shifts hesitate, gears hang longer than expected, or the car feels lined with a tiny delay that was never there before. You won't feel the damage building until it's too late. Here's where the transmission reset hack becomes interesting. It gives your car a clean slate without lifting the hood or visiting a shop. Some vehicles allow a reset sequence through the ignition and accelerator, and owners often feel a smoother drive immediately after. Imagine buying a used car that spent years with a gentle driver. The transmission learned that calm style and now reacts slowly when you press the throttle. The reset sequence teaches the system to forget those older patterns. The process usually starts with the ignition turned on without starting the engine. You then hold the accelerator fully down for a specific period. Switch the ignition off, release the pedal, wait briefly, and start the engine again. This hack influences vehicles with adaptive transmission control, systems that store driving patterns to adjust shift timing and hydraulic pressure. A reset allows fresh learning that matches your current driving style. Drivers use this after software updates, fluid changes, or when they notice inconsistent shifts. The reward: a gearbox that feels cleaner, calmer, and better aligned with the way you actually drive. If you love saving money on car repairs and outsmarting the shop, hit subscribe. We've got a garage full of insider tricks coming. Number 15. Use heater to cool engine. When a temperature gauge starts climbing in slow traffic, it feels like a countdown to an expensive breakdown. Drivers reach for the air conditioning out of instinct, yet the smarter move is a strange-sounding hack that mechanics quietly rely on but rarely share. Crank your cabin heater to its hottest setting, switch the fan to maximum, and let the system pull heat away from the engine through the heater core. Picture a mountain climb with the car loaded, the radiator fan struggling, and the needle edging into the danger zone. Here's the catch. Turning the heater on creates a second path for heat to escape because coolant flows through a heat exchanger behind your dashboard. Air moving across those fins carries heat out of the engine bay when the radiator lacks proper airflow. This hack matters on cars that are overheating but still circulating coolant. The temperature often stabilizes once the heater is blasting, which gives you precious time to reach an exit or pull over safely. If the heater suddenly blows cold, the cooling system is critically low or blocked, and the hack won't help. Stopping immediately becomes your only priority. Drivers who understand this trick avoid cracked heads, blown gaskets, and tow bills that run into the thousands. Yes, it's uncomfortable in summer heat, but would you rather sweat for 10 minutes or watch your engine destroy itself? You'll be shocked how often ignoring this costs drivers their entire power plant. Number 14. Install your new tires on the rear axle. Many drivers assume fresh rubber belongs on the front because that's where steering and most braking force live. The real reason isn't what you think, and the hidden risk sits at the rear, waiting for the worst possible moment. On a wet curve or a highway ramp with standing water, worn rear tires lose grip first and the back of the car starts to swing. That rotation happens fast, often before the driver realizes anything is wrong. New tires with deeper tread clear water more effectively, and placing them on the rear keeps the car stable, even if the front begins to slide. The steering wheel gives clear feedback when the front slips, but true control always depends on the rear staying planted. Even stability control systems rely on that foundation to work properly. This hack prevents sudden spins, costly repairs, and the heart-stopping moment when the car starts to rotate and you realize you've lost control. Mechanics rarely explain this during tire service, but now you know why it matters. Be honest. Have you ever nearly lost the rear end on a wet corner? Let us know in the comments. Great tires keep you steady, but when that warning light appears, you'll want this next hack to decode the problem before a mechanic charges you triple. Number 13. Scan your own car codes. Ever seen that yellow warning light pop up and felt your stomach drop? It feels like your car is speaking in riddles, and the only translator is a mechanic holding a 4-figure scan tool. Here's what they rarely tell you. In 2025, that same information is yours for the taking through a simple Bluetooth OBD scanner you can pair with your phone in seconds. Most cars built after the mid-90s have a standardized 16-pin port hiding under the dashboard. Behind that innocent-looking port is a steady stream of data from sensors and control modules tracking everything your car does. A small reader, often under $30, can pull that information and show clear explanations instead of cryptic symbols. Apps highlight the meaning of codes, display snapshots from the exact moment an issue appeared, and give clues about what usually solves the problem. The real reason this matters? Knowledge is leverage. When you walk into a shop already knowing what triggered that light, suddenly the mysterious diagnostic fee feels a lot less justified. A small evaporative leak often points toward nothing more than a loose gas cap, while a misfire code alerts you to avoid heavy driving until the issue is fixed. A simple look at the codes turns confusion into calm and gives you the confidence to separate genuine faults from profit-driven upsells. You've secured control on the road, but what's your car hiding under the hood? This next move exposes it in seconds. Number 12. Replace brake fluid regularly for stronger stops. Brake fluid works behind the scenes, and that's exactly why aging fluid surprises so many drivers. Moisture slowly seeps into the system through hoses and seals, lowering the boiling point a little more each year. The pedal feels normal around town, so the problem stays invisible until it's not. Stress shows up on long mountain descents or during hard emergency stops. Heat moves into the calipers and then into the fluid. Old, moisture-laden fluid can boil under that load, forming vapor pockets that make the pedal sink and weaken, stopping force at the worst possible moment. Would you know what to do if this happened tomorrow during an emergency stop? A simple flush every 2 to 3 years keeps the fluid stable and protects the delicate valves inside ABS and stability control units. It preserves pedal firmness, reduces repair risks, and keeps emergency braking sharp when you need it most. Shops skip this step during most routine services because they'd rather sell you new brake components later. With your stopping power restored, the next move keeps rain from sneaking into the cabin and destroying thousands of dollars in electronics. Number 11. Clear your sunroof drains before they overflow. Water inside a car feels mysterious until you learn this industry secret. Most sunroofs are designed to leak a little by default. The glass sits above tiny gutters, and any water that slips past is supposed to drop into a tray and escape through thin drain tubes running down the pillars. When those tubes clog with dust, leaves, or debris, the tray overflows straight into the headliner or footwells. The hack is to clear those drains before disaster strikes. Open the sunroof, find the corner holes in the tray, and gently feed a flexible nylon line or trimmer line through until it appears under the car. The tubes are soft and narrow, so light pressure clears debris without causing damage. A quick pour test confirms success. When water flows out instantly, you've just stopped hidden moisture from ruining electronics, corroding airbag modules, or destroying carpet wiring. Mechanics rarely mention this during inspections, but here's why it matters. Repair bills for water damage often exceed several $1,000s. After clearing the drains above, the next hack clears the corrosion that silently steals power below. Number 10. Clean battery terminals with baking soda. Corroded battery terminals quietly choke the flow of power, and the symptoms creep in so slowly you barely notice. A hesitant crank on cold mornings, dim lights during startup, or random electrical quirks often trace back to that blue-white crust sitting around the posts. That buildup adds resistance exactly where the car needs a perfect connection. Here's the catch. A baking soda wash clears it in minutes. Mix a tablespoon with water, and the solution fizzes on contact, neutralizing the acidic residue that forms the crust. A toothbrush or brass brush wipes the softened material away, revealing bright metal underneath. Once the posts are clean, the starter gets the strong current it expects, and those sluggish starts vanish. A quick rinse with water and a thin coat of dielectric grease keep corrosion from returning. This simple hack often restores full electrical strength without replacing the battery, saving you $100 or more. You won't feel the power drain happening until your car won't start. Sound familiar? After cleaning the charge path, the next move protects the glass and paint that weather attacks daily. Number 9. Seal fresh chips with nail polish. Tiny rock chips look harmless until they turn into cracks, rust spots, and repair bills that hit triple digits. They always seem to appear when you're miles from a shop or too busy to stop. This hack gives you a quick way to freeze the damage in place before it spreads. A thin layer of clear nail polish seals the wound and keeps the elements from making it worse. On a windshield, a chip lets moisture and dirt creep into micro cracks. Clear nail polish closes that opening and slows the stress that comes from bumps, door slams, and temperature swings. It's not a replacement for professional resin repair, but it buys valuable time and often prevents a tiny chip from becoming a full windshield replacement. On paint, exposed metal starts corroding immediately, sometimes within hours. A careful dab of color-matched polish restores a protective barrier and stops rust before it takes hold. This small move keeps damage contained until you can schedule a proper repair. Protecting the body is one thing, but the next move protects your comfort with one quick swap that takes less than 5 minutes. Number 8. Swap your cabin filter. Weak airflow, foggy windows, and that musty blast. When you first start the fan, often get blamed on an aging AC system. In many cars, the real issue is a clogged cabin air filter that has quietly packed itself with dust, leaves, pollen, and debris. This is one of those car hacks that feels almost unfair because the fix usually takes less time than making a cup of coffee. Most cars built from the mid-2000s onward hide this filter behind the glove box. Open it, squeeze the sides so it drops down, and a small rectangular door appears. Slide the old filter out. Slide a new one in with the airflow direction matching the arrow, and lift the glove box back into place. There are no tools involved, and the entire job often costs under $30 if you buy the filter yourself. That fresh filter lets the blower move air freely again, which helps the AC cool faster, clears fogged glass sooner, and reduces the strain on the blower motor. It also keeps debris off the evaporator so it stays cleaner and smells fresher for longer. Here's what they don't tell you. Drivers usually pay shops $40 to $100 for this service. Learning it once feels like unlocking a quiet superpower. Clean filter in, better air out, and your cabin feels like it upgraded itself. What's the worst smell your car's ever hit you with? Bet someone here can't top yours. Once the cabin breathes better, the next hack fixes the most annoying part of filling the tank and protects your wallet from a hidden maintenance trap. Number 7. Smarter fuel pump control. A pump that keeps clicking off feels like the station is broken, especially when you're in a hurry. Many drivers pull the trigger harder or shove the nozzle deeper, which only makes the handle snap off sooner. The smarter move is to work with the pump instead of fighting it. And here's why it matters more than you think. Inside the nozzle is a tiny sensing hole that draws air as fuel flows. Rising foam blocks that hole for a split second and triggers the shutoff, even when the tank has room left. Slowing the trigger speed during the final part of the fill gives the foam time to settle so the nozzle reads real fuel instead of bubbles. This hack also prevents topping off, which can flood the charcoal canister in your evaporative emissions system and create expensive repair issues that cost hundreds to fix. Once you ease the flow, the fill becomes smooth, predictable, and protects a system most drivers don't even know exists. You'll be shocked how often this mistake costs drivers thousands in emission repairs. Getting fuel right is one win, but the next hack makes summer starts feel effortless and saves wear on your AC compressor. Number 6. Dump the heat before cooling. A sun-soaked cabin feels unbearable the moment you open the door, and blasting the AC inside that oven only slows everything down while straining the system. A faster move is to dump the superheated air first, then let the AC work on a much lighter load. Hot interiors climb far past outside temperature because the dashboard and seats trap solar heat and radiate it into the cabin for hours. That hot air is the easiest part to remove, and a quick purge changes the whole cooling curve dramatically. Roll down a rear window, swing the opposite front door a few brisk times, and you create strong pressure pulses that push hot air out and pull cooler air in. Even a handful of smooth swings can shift the cabin temperature closer to ambient before you even sit down. Once you start driving, keep the windows cracked for a minute with the AC on fresh air mode. This lets the system clear lingering heat while the evaporator begins dropping temperatures. When the air feels reasonable, close the windows and switch to recirculation so the AC reuses cooler cabin air instead of constantly reheating the same blast from outside. This simple sequence helps modern AC systems, especially smaller units in newer cars and electric vehicles, cool quicker and use less energy overall. The moment you feel the cabin settle comfortably, it clicks. Why this hack works so well. After beating the heat, the next trick pulls you out of the key not detected nightmare instantly. No tow truck required. Number 5. Start your car with a dead key fob. A silent fob feels stressful until you learn the quiet backup system built into almost every push-button car. When the doors refuse to unlock and the dash flashes "key not detected," most drivers imagine an expensive failure or being stranded, even though the tiny coin battery in the fob usually quit just minutes earlier. Here's the industry secret. place the fob directly against the start button or into the small recess near the steering column or center console. That area hides an inductive antenna that powers the fob's passive chip, so the immobilizer can read it instantly, even with a completely dead battery. If the doors stay locked, slide out the mechanical key blade hidden inside the fob, pop the decorative cap on the door handle, and unlock manually. The alarm stops as soon as the engine recognizes the fob inside. This simple backup routine replaces panic with control and saves tow bills, emergency shop visits, and unnecessary fob replacements that dealers love to sell for $200 or more. Once the engine is running again, the next move checks whether your tires can actually keep you safe, or if you're gambling with your life. Number 4, check your tread with a penny. A quick coin test can reveal more about your safety than any dashboard light, because worn tread quietly erases grip long before a tire looks obviously bald. Picture a rainy highway drive where the steering feels light and the car starts to glide across lanes. Many drivers blame wet pavement, yet the real story is hiding in the grooves they haven't checked in months. The move is simple but critical. Take a penny, place it into a main tread groove with Lincoln's head upside down, and look closely. If the top of his head becomes visible, the tread is at the 2:30 seconds mark that signals minimal grip on wet roads. That small detail tells you exactly how much water the tire can still move before lifting onto a thin, dangerous film. Here's why this matters more than most people realize. Deep grooves channel water away so the rubber can meet the road surface. As the blocks wear down, those channels lose volume, and the tire loses the ability to resist hydroplaning at highway speeds. Stability control and ABS rely on basic traction to function, so shallow tread turns every emergency stop into a gamble with physics. Check several spots around each tire, especially the inner shoulder that often hides faster wear patterns. A few seconds with a penny can help you decide when to replace tires on your terms, instead of discovering the problem during an emergency. It's a tiny test that protects every other safety system on the car. Would you know if your tires failed this test right now? Once the tires pass inspection, the next move makes parking feel smoother than it ever has and saves your transmission from slow destruction. Number 3, park your car. The pro way. A steep driveway always exposes a quiet problem most drivers never think about. Every day, their car rests its full weight on a tiny metal pawl deep inside the transmission. Drivers feel that heavy clunk the next morning when shifting out of park and assume it's normal wear, even though it's a sign the driveline was carrying a load it was never designed to hold long term. A smoother and smarter routine starts with a full stop while your foot holds the brake pedal firmly. Slide the shifter into neutral and set the parking brake with authority. The car settles onto the rear brakes, which are specifically designed to hold the vehicle's weight with far less stress. Then shift to park and shut the engine down, knowing the powell is resting with almost no pressure forcing it into position. This sequence works because the parking brake clamps the wheels themselves, while park locks the transmission's output shaft. Letting the brake take the load protects the powell from being jammed hard into its tooth, which is the real cause of that loud resistance and grinding feel when you shift out of park on a hill. Mechanics rarely explain this during service appointments, but here's the catch. Owners who use this hack describe a night and day difference in feel, and technicians see fewer damaged powells and far fewer stuck shifters over time. Over years of parking on slopes, the savings in stress and potential repair costs add up dramatically. It feels like a small ritual, yet once you try it, everything about parking becomes smoother and more controlled. A smoother stop sets up the next move, which clears your view before the vents even warm up, using something you'd never expect. Number 2, reduce window fog with a potato. Cold mornings hit fast, and few things feel more frustrating than watching the inside of your windshield turn into a cloudy blur the moment you breathe. That instant fog happens because warm, damp air from your lungs meets chilled glass and condenses into tiny droplets. Those droplets scatter light and ruin visibility before the defroster even has time to wake up. A strange old-school hack mechanic steps in here with surprising effectiveness. Slice a raw potato, rub the cut face across the interior glass in smooth, overlapping passes, and buff it clear with a clean microfiber cloth. The potato leaves behind a thin, invisible film of natural starch that changes how moisture behaves on the surface. Instead of collecting into misty droplets, the water spreads into a clearer sheet, making fog slower to appear and much easier for the vents to clear. Drivers who use this hack say it helps on mornings when their AC is weak or the car is old enough that automatic defogging feels sluggish. It works because that starch layer slightly reduces the glass's natural tendency to bead condensation, buying you significantly better visibility during those critical first minutes on the road. There are limits to keep in mind. The film wears off after a few days, and residue can attract dirt or smear under wipers if applied too heavily. You should also avoid the area directly in front of cameras or sensors. Used thoughtfully, though, this simple trick can make a foggy start far less chaotic and dangerous. Good visibility protects you every time you drive, and the final move keeps the heart of your car clean for years to come. Number 1. Choose stations with top-tier fuel. Every fill-up is a tiny vote for how clean your engine will be 5 years from now, because gasoline varies wildly in the amount of detergent it carries. Drivers usually think octane rating is the big decision, yet the real action is in the additive package that keeps injectors and valves from collecting sticky deposits over thousands of miles. Top-tier fuel brands meet a higher detergent standard created by automakers themselves, and every grade they sell, regular, mid-grade, premium, must pass tests that strictly limit buildup in injectors and combustion chambers. That extra detergent works slowly over time, protecting engines that spend years idling in traffic or running short trips where deposits grow fastest and cause the most damage. The difference shows up clearly in repair bills and performance. Mechanics see fewer misfires, smoother idles, and dramatically cleaner injectors on cars consistently filled with top-tier gasoline. The cost difference at the pump is minimal, often just a few cents per gallon, yet the long-term payoff is avoiding expensive fuel system cleanings, maintaining fuel economy, and keeping the engine running the way it did when it rolled off the assembly line. Here's what the industry won't tell you. Cheap gas saves pennies today, but costs you hundreds or thousands tomorrow. You won't feel the deposits forming until performance drops and the check engine light appears. You've just unlocked 18 car hacks that mechanics won't share, but want to save even more on repairs? Discover 20 repair secrets that can slash $2,000 a year from your bills. Tap now before your next service visit.